Nathan Cheximiya Allison Sna, Tanachin Kla Chomolchison Ochemeo, Skohot Me Shoth, on Wanok Squalwin, Eotin Sequatals. What I said is that my ancestral name is Cheximiya. My given name is Allison. I come from the village of Capilano from the Squamish Nation. Feels really good in my heart to be here and all my relations. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to show you one of my favorite crafts that I love to do at the Squamish Lil'Wat Cultural Centre, and that's how to make a dream catcher. Thank you so much for joining me making a dream catcher today. The idea is that everyone will have something very similar to this that you can make for your very own. Tradition is, if it's your first one, you do gift it away, and that's so that you continue on with this practice. Dream catchers are amazing, and it is very exciting to be able to teach you while you're following along with me here today. You're going to need a wrapped hoop. This is a brass hoop that's wrapped in suede materials right around. You will also need a couple of wingspans of sinew. Sinew traditionally is made from the ligaments of the deer. This here is commercial sinew, and it's artificial, a little bit less stinky to work with. We also have a little bit more suede to add for our danglies, which we will be adding beads and feathers to. If everyone's ready to get started, what you need to do is start off with your hoop in front of you and grab your sinew. Feel free and find the end of your sinew, and what you're going to do is you're going to tie it close to the connection of suede on your hoop. Sinew is a slippery material, so we do a couple of knots, 2 to 3, to keep it safe. Just overhand regular knots. So I have mine secured right on here, and now I'm going to work with my long piece of sinew. And I'm going to fold it a little bit so I'm not having to work with such a long piece when I get started. And the first thing that I like to do with my dream catcher is I like to hold it up in front of me. I like to make sure the sinew is on the side closest to my body. I grab my long piece that I'm working with, and I bring it and I wrap it around the hoop. When I'm wrapping it, I can pull it all the way through nice and gently. And the way that I wrapped it, there is this crossing action that happens right here with the sinew. So I'm going to just pull it a little bit tighter. And we are going to be doing a little bit of a large gap. Let's see, that's about 2 inches or so. And the larger you start your initial gap with going around your dream catcher, the shorter amount of time it will take. If you make the initial gap smaller and very tight, that means you're going to have a lot more spaces to go through, and it'll be more of a tighter weave. But to keep it simple, we're going to have just about 2 inches, and we're going to continue. The sinew is in front of me and it's hanging down. I take my long piece of sinew, I wrap it around my hoop and bring it up and tighten, and I see I have this special crisscross, that action that's happening here. And we're going to pull it tight, keeping our gaps similar in distance. We want to keep it nice and tight so you can pull nice and hard on it. And then from there, to keep it tight, I'll pinch the last connecting area right here. So now again, my sinew is laying flat in front of me. Come around with my long piece and bring it through. Pulling it nice and tight, making sure our gaps are nice and even. And you're going to carry on with this process all the way until we get back to the starting point. The reason you want to have your gaps open and consistent is that so when we spiral in our weaving, we are going to end up in the center. I'm going to move that one over. So now you can see I've gone around the entire frame with our special locking technique, making many different gaps along the way. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use each of these areas that were just created, and I'm going to use those spaces to go through next. I have my long piece of sinew here. Find a tail here, there it is. And then I'm gonna come in between the hoop and the first space that we created, coming down and bringing it up. And remember, this interlocking crisscross is very important. So we need to have that. And I like to center it right in the middle of the line. The next space we're going to is our second spot that we've created. My sinew is down in front of me. My tail that I'm weaving with goes through the sinew and the hoop, and we pull it up. And the way that I'm doing it, that interlock happens right away. I'll show you on the next one. When I go down, and if I pull it up on the right-hand side, there is no special locking, and this will then move very easily. So if that happens and you notice that, you just take your sinew and bring it up through the gap you've just created and pull it through. And that way that interlocking will happen. And we're going to look for this weave to be accomplished in our Dreamcatcher. So grab my tail, bring it between the sinew and the frame, pulling it through, and nice and tight. We're going to continue this process until we get to the other end of our second passing. With Dreamcatchers, what we do is we keep spiraling our work inwards to end up at the center. So there we are. And now I'm back at the top. So in my third passing, I'm going to come to all of these gaps that I just created, and I'm going to do the special weave in the center of each of them, spiraling inwards. So, going down, bringing it up, pulling it tight, centering it, and holding it tight so you can move on to the next one. Dreamcatchers are very traditional in many areas, and I've seen them all around the world. They are created to catch all of the negative dreams in the webbing, because we're doing this with love, care, and energy into every weave. So when it's gifted or used above somebody sleeping, all of the negative dreams will be caught in this web of love, and they will hold on to them. They let good dreams pass through, or they will fall down through the feathers that we'll add on at the end. When the daylight comes and hits the dream catcher, all of those bad dreams will then go away with the morning sun. If you are feeling confident within your pattern and your technique, you're more than welcome to utilize some of the beads that come within our kits, or some that you have at home, and you can start stringing them on your piece as you go along to add your own personal flair, love, and adornments onto your piece. When weaving and doing art, I love to sing songs, listen to music, think about the person I want to gift this item to, so that I'm in a really good state of mind, positive, happy, energetic. So when the receiver or the person utilizing this piece is using it, they feel that good love, energy, and happiness. So I've done a few rounds now, and you can see how it's really starting to come together. I'm very happy and proud with the way this is coming, and I will continue on, always going and doing that special weave in the middle of these gaps that were created on the past previously. So we're just spiraling inwards till we get to the center. As you get closer and closer to the middle, your gaps are going to get smaller and smaller, and it's going to get harder and harder. Some people like to use large needles to be able to make sure their weaving is very tight, and that is an option. And we're getting there, closer and closer. Maybe I'll go one more pass. Some people like to cinch their piece so it goes all the way connected right in the middle here. Some people will leave more of a gap. That is your personal preference. When you find that you are done and you don't know what to do, that's okay. That's what I'm here to show you. We're going to take your piece, and on your last spot, what you're going to do is tie a knot. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece, I'm going to bring it through a gap, and I'm going to make a knot and pull it nice and tight. And remember, 2 knots or 3 knots are preferred when working with sinew, as it's a slippery material. And if you have extra, just snip it off. For those of you who want to add a bit of a tail, we have this extra piece, and traditionally, there is no proper spot to place it on the hoop. If you want to place it off to the side, if you want to place it directly under, you're more than welcome to do so. And what you have to do is fold your piece in half, take the loop side, bring it under your hoop, bring your 2 tails through the loop, and pull it through. And that way it creates a little dangly. From there, if you have any beads left over, if you didn't use them for your center here, you can utilize them on your tails. Some beautiful colors in here. And the feather, you can actually place them inside the bead. And voila! You are more than welcome to put your personal flair on this in any which way you would like. If you would like to off-center your dangly pieces here, you're more than welcome to. If you wanted to put the beads and feathers on both of them. Sometimes people don't want to add dangly pieces and they have it just as the loop, beads in the middle. Everyone is their own artist, and I'm very excited for each and every one of you to try this out. If you do have the opportunity to do so, please share it with us on social media or in any which way. I would love to be able to see your completed projects. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a great day.